You did not push the right button.
I did not. I wasn't ready.
Hi. Hello, everybody.
Hey, y'all. Okay, I'm doing Zoe.
Well, you got it out of the way. Hey, everybody.
Already did that.
No, you said y'all.
Oh.
I say everybody.
Everybody. Sorry. Oh, let's catch up.
Let's. My hair looks funky.
Shouldn't it say Wednesday Night Live? What did you
the
post?
Thumbnail was a Sunday Night Live. I went and changed it.
Okay.
Right before I got on here. Hey y'all, we're gonna give everybody a minute to get on here because Nick didn't do our timing right. We try to give everybody time to get on before he clicks the button, but he clicked the button early, or didn't click the button at all actually. The law is here for now. Hurricane will be over them in 30 minutes. Goodness gracious.
I've been watching that. I texted Nico earlier to check on them. He said it was getting very rough.
Oh, I want to tell, I saw somebody say Miss Mary. Miss Mary had put in an order, and I just got a notification for it today.
Is that the one that you told me she had put in like Friday?
Yes.
Oh.
So I will be doing it this weekend and getting it sent out to you. Probably Monday because I don't want to ship over the weekend and it be sitting in the mail somewhere. But just know that I did just now see it today. And so we'll get it taken care of. Hey, Sue. Hope you're hunkering down. Power has flickered a few times already, but they'll be with us as long as they can.
What? It should be is it a good bit south of y'all, Londa? Looked like it was. That's what I was thinking the other day when we were talking about it. She was saying there were several models out there, and she was saying that it looked like it was coming right at them, but the model I had seen was south, kind of where it is now with Tampa, Sarasota. So that's what I was thinking, that they were south. It was south of them, but I'm not sure.
I have family in Sarasota.
She said, I wonder how the Brown family was doing. The Brown family was okay, an hour ago? And I told him just keep me updated. He said it was getting really rough and getting worse by the minute. But Sue said it's a little south her.
Okay. Miss Mary said no hurry. They're going to be in the freezer to be her after knee surgery.
She said that she was going to order some for after her knee surgery. Yeah.
Well, don't think I didn't get it, but I just got the notification today. So I was like, Nick, it's been there since Friday, and I didn't even know. Siesta Key is Sarasota. Okay. That's my grandmother has family in Sarasota there. My friend's parents' house and neighborhood was hit by 2 tornadoes in Lakeport.
I did see, and y'all will have to correct me, I think is it 95? I-95 where the tornado crossed?
Mm-hmm.
I think I saw that earlier. They had some tornadoes ahead of the hurricane spinning up, and I think it was I-95 that I saw. But
your mom said Bradenton.
Bradenton is right along that Sarasota area, all in the same spot. Said they had like 9. That sounds like some Alabama stuff there.
Why are we flickering?
75 is where it went across, hasn't made it to 95 yet. Okay. And then some people are saying yes, 95. So I don't know. I thought I saw on the post it said 95, but I can't swear to that. That's just what I was thinking.
133 tornado warnings today in 6 hours. Goodness gracious.
I wonder if Tony's taking a good nap.
Well, I talked to Miss Catherine earlier while I was sitting in the pickup line.
I bet he's in his recliner with Stella.
And he was asleep, and she was frying chicken and potatoes and had green beans going.
Is he gonna wake up to eat or just
That
stay?
was at 2:00 today, so I'm hoping he already ate by now. She was fixing him. He had not been home too terribly long and had fell asleep in the recliner. She texted me a while ago and said she don't know how long she's gonna make it. I said, well, it'll probably be the best sleep she's got in weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Now that he's home.
I live in Jacksonville and it hasn't made it here yet. We're right by 95. Are you talking about the hurricane or the tornadoes? I was talking about the tornado crossing 95.
Nell's with Dean on a road trip.
Oh my!
Somebody
I wonder how that's
sound
gonna
the
be.
alarms.
Y'all going live from the road trip? How's Chance doing? Did Rhett have a sleepover while you were at the hospital?
So Rhett and Mackenzie went and stayed at Nana and Aunt Abby's house, which is my mom and sister. And Chance is okay. He's a little restless.
Joan was talking about the hurricane.
Okay.
Somebody had mentioned the tornadoes, and I was saying that I had seen a video of a tornado crossing 95. But we're definitely in prayers for everybody in the path of that hurricane, because even though it weakened before it made landfall, it's still a major hurricane.
Yeah.
I'm glad that it was not still what it was out in the Gulf when it got there, because it was a vicious Category 5 in the Gulf. It was bad. Like, there was one meteorologist that he wrote an article about it, and he was explaining the pressures and that the eye was really tight, only 3.5 miles, and this, that, and other. And he was comparing pressures to a lot of other hurricanes. And he was saying that this is like at the threshold of what the earth can even produce.
Wow.
He's like, this is like.
Go 5
Your Christy said your oven is preheated.
It's actually baking a cake. Because somebody
Hey, Kevin.
has a birthday tomorrow. I don't know who that would be. Who would I spend some time baking a yellow cake with chocolate icing
Absolutely
for?
anybody.
For free?
Absolutely
For
anybody.
free?
It must be Tony's birthday. He too likes chocolate cake.
I am making a yellow cake with chocolate icing because tomorrow is Honey's birthday. Happy birthday.
You don't have to sing.
To you.
You don't have to sing. Dean is doing a live while driving home.
Birthday to you.
You're going to continue, aren't you?
Happy birthday, Mr. President.
President what?
Happy birthday to you. Hey, Grounds. So, anyway, tomorrow is your birthday, so I'm making him a cake so he can take it to work and share if he wants to, share if he don't want to.
I don't want to.
You don't have to. You can just sit on your desk with a fork because you are an adult and you can eat cake all day if you want to.
I'm going to sit it on my desk and I'm sit down with a fork and a napkin and just stare at people.
Yeah, that'll work too.
You going out to eat tomorrow for your birthday? I went tonight.
We went tonight. We not tomorrow. We got football practice.
That's why I don't have a slouchy t-shirt on.
We went to dinner with your dad and your stepmom and had some. We actually celebrated Chance's August birthday because we haven't been able to line that up, and your birthday for tomorrow.
Yeah. Christy said, "Oh dang, did Zoe just go all Marilyn Monroe?" Yeah, her best attempt at it.
Wait.
I'm gonna get you. No, Zoe. No.
She's got the curls, and I don't.
No, leave that alone.
Okay.
I will get you a white dress and let it blow up though.
Oh. This is
We
a
don't
family panel.
We don't have any vents in the floor, though. Our vents are in the ceiling. It's not going to work. You got to stand on your head.
It's going to be a little weird if I was upside down in the recliner.
Just stand on your head.
Happy birthday to
you.
I saw something about buttermilk. Sandy said cake with a big glass of buttermilk. Well, this cake's got buttermilk in it, so that probably would be pretty yummy.
Well,
get a box fan. Yeah, that's a lot of thought. Yes. I'm sitting here. As long as you sit.
It may be too bright. It's probably not a good idea.
Go lay on the big bed with Brett and turn the light off.
Yeah, turn the light off.
He's ready to go to sleep.
He's probably already asleep.
No, well, go lay on the big bed, turn the light off, and y'all watch TV. Use a leaf blower, Marion said.
I'd have to. We don't have any floor vents.
No, they're all in the ceiling. Jody's gardening and picking mulberries. That sounds fun.
It's too dark to
Well, it
garden.
ain't dark there.
I know it's not. I was being sarcastic.
Sending prayers for all the people in Florida, praying for everyone else that's been affected. How's Chance? So let's talk about it. Everybody needs to know. We had a pretty big scare there for a couple days. A 24-hour period.
She says Chance's headache better. I don't think he's got one at the moment. So we are going to be dealing with concussion protocol for several days and trying to avoid any more headaches, because anytime he gets a headache, that 7 days starts over. And that's the threshold he's got to meet to get back to physical activity. And even then, it will be slow returning.
Yes.
Lane said, is Chance done with football for the season? Chance is extremely limited. He may or may not be done. We don't know about that yet. I know Chance wants to get back to playing, but then again,
he was trying to go out there last night to practice.
We're not going to let a 10-year-old make that decision.
That's right.
So, we'll have a little bit more of an update, a little bit more in depth on a video. But to cover, we're going to go ahead and cover what happened.
Yes.
No, Chance cannot go back to school yet.
Well,
but you'll have to tell them your part because you're the one that took it.
Yes.
Okay.
So we'll just kind of start at the beginning. Chance had actually, Hannah mentioned that we thought it started Thursday. She recalls him having a headache Monday or Tuesday. Tuesday. So
he said it got worse Wednesday at school.
Yes.
So get on with it.
We
The thing went off. What's the temp supposed to be?
350.
Okay.
Anyway, so he's had just a headache for many days, and some days he told us about it, some days he didn't. We really just thought it was a sinus pressure headache. It's just that time of season, been out in the field, grass is dry, we just thought it was sinus pressure, because he didn't have any other symptoms. There was no nausea, no vomiting, no fever, no anything, just a headache. And yes, echo lid. We'll say that in just a minute.
Well, we can't avoid that, seeing as how the doctor told us what it was with him in the room. He knows what it is.
Yeah.
But he also can't fool me.
Yes.
You go ahead.
So at practice, we've just kind of given him Tylenol, and that has helped, we thought. What we didn't know is that while he's been at school at PE, his headaches would increase when he would jog or do any kind of physical activity. So at practice Monday, he went through a drill and it hurt so bad that he was crying. And Nick sent him off the field and he came to me and I went to Nick and we decided that he needed to go get checked because that was kind of like a final straw.
Hey, Brandon.
So.
Well, let me explain first. The drill that he was in is called a 1 yard drill, and it is based on reducing concussions.
Yes.
Or the chance for them. That is what the drill is for. And Chance was still not able to perform the drill. He was hitting, but they're only a yard apart, so the collisions are not high speed, and try to avoid any head-to-head or concussions. So that is something that I run my defense through every defensive practice so that they can practice their tackling with lower speed.
Mm-hmm.
They can practice the form of the tackle without being full speed and risking injuries. That's why I do that drill the way I do it. And Chance was not engaging and was laying off to the side, and that's not like Chance. So initially I said, "What is your problem?" And he looks at me, and you can see the tears, and I said, "Get off the field." Naturally, when your dad's a football coach and you hear "get off the field," you think you're in trouble. And he gets back in line, and I said, "Chance, get off the field." And he said, "No, I'm ready." I said, "Go over there with your mama." And Zoe's sitting on the sideline. Well, he's just boo-hooing. Number one, from the headache, and number two, because he thinks he's in trouble. And I can't let him know otherwise in front of an entire football team.
Right.
Because then they're going to know he's injured. And I was like, we need to get something done privately. So he goes off the field. Next thing I know, he comes back. And I said, "Chance, what are you doing?" And he said, "I'm fine." I said, "No, you're not. Get off of my football field." And he just goes to pieces. And I said, "Chance, go over there with your mama while your head's hurt." So he walks off, and Zoe meets me halfway, and she said, "We're going to the ER." And I said, "It's probably the best thing because this has been going on for several days."
Yes.
Anyway, go ahead.
So
I had to clear that part up because we were actually doing a drill designed to avoid this.
yes. So we got there. We kind of anticipated that we're going to have a CT scan. You know, boy comes in football clothes. You know, with a headache. They knew. We kind of knew too. So she did.
But it didn't have anything to do with what he was doing at the time. I'm going to cover that in a minute too.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So we did our CT scan, and they gave him an IV with they called a headache concoction, and he was resting, and the doctor comes in and she says, "Okay, so yep, we've got, it's a sports related concussion, but I'm going to say a bunch of words that you're not going to understand, and it sounds really scary, but I don't know if it's something we need to be concerned with, but we've got a plan," or something like that. And I'm like, okay, because Nick was not there yet. So she started talking about a lesion. They found. Oh,
you gave it a thumbs down.
I gave ourselves a
Don't
thumbs
give
down.
us a thumbs down. What's the matter with you? Go ahead.
So she said, "There's a lesion that we have found," and there was a bunch of words that I didn't know. And she said it was whatever this was 2.
That's 2 millimeters.
Millimeters.
And his is
and
5.5.
his is 5.5. So about that big.
That might be stretching it a little.
Well, if this is 2, that's 4, and another.
Okay, maybe.
So about that big on his brain, on the left side. So, okay. When my husband gets here, you'll have to tell him all that because he's going to understand.
It was centimeters, wasn't it? Not millimeters.
I think it was centimeters.
Centimeters, sorry. Yeah, that's right. Centimeters. I was expecting millimeters when you said it, and when I got there, she said centimeters.
And that's
said,
a lot bigger.
Oh, that's bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Nick got there, and I said we met her out in the hall, so we didn't have to talk about it in front of Chance. And so
I made Zoe go in the hall. She didn't want to go.
understand. I couldn't read your
go.
face.
She said, I'm okay. I said, I'm not talking about you. Go out in the hall. I said, Zoe, go in the hall. I'm fine. So
So yeah, it was more than 1 inch for sure.
Yeah, it was a lot.
About 2.5.
Anyway, go ahead.
So anyway, she talked to you and you understood. You want to tell them what it is?
So it is a sarcoid cyst. And
see, I was wrong with that. I told Hannah it was an arachnoid. And we're like
arachnoid? That's
like
a spider. Sarcoid.
See, I need you for these things.
Yeah, it's got a spider cyst.
Wow. Hey,
Anyway, he has an arachnoid cyst, and she said that it was, she had told Zoe that it was CSF. And it's a collection of CSF. And Zoe's just looking, and I said, cerebral spinal fluid. And she said, yes. I said, well, I understand that. I know what you're saying. And she said, but she didn't use the word skull. What did she say?
cranium.
No, that's not what she said, Zoe.
I read that.
Either way, whatever it was had formed around it. She said, this is not new, but you need to see the neurosurgeon at Children's.
Well, that's a big word that I understand.
So what you have is you've just told a mama in an ER with a boy having headaches, been playing football, that he's got a lesion on his brain and you need neurosurgeon. All Zoe heard was brain, lesion, neurosurgeon. That's all. That's all she heard. That's all she needed to hear. And she was done. And I get it. I'm not making fun of you. I'm telling them that that's what mamas are going to hear is lesion, brain, neurosurgeon. It's a big part of what I heard.
Yes.
And I'm hearing the other stuff she's saying, and I was like, well, if it's not a new injury, that still doesn't mean anything. It's still something on the brain.
Right.
I don't care whether it's a new injury or not.
Right.
That makes no difference. So off we go.
So we did refuse ambulance service. We did not see it as a.
She said it wasn't necessary.
Yeah,
I mean, it wasn't necessary. Us refusing. She said it wasn't necessary.
So we loaded him up. We ran home and let him get out of his football clothes. We knew it was going to be a long night, and got in one vehicle and off we went to Birmingham an hour later.
Wait, Lori is splitting time between us and one other live. Who else is live right now?
Somebody more important than
Lori. It's okay. I'm just joking.
That's okay.
Anyway, go ahead.
So we got there, had to go in through the ER, and it was 2:30 before the on-call neurosurgeon came in, who said, I'm not real comfortable doing this, so I'm going to let my boss handle it when he gets here in the morning.
Exactly what he said.
He said he was not well versed.
That's not what he said either.
That's what he said.
He told us the name of it, what it was, just the same as the ER doctor had said at Clanton. He said, these are not dangerous and we don't operate on them, if that's what it is. I would like my boss to look at it because he's got a lot more experience, and I would rather him make that call. That's what he said. He said, I'm not well versed. No neurosurgeon is going to say I'm not well versed. He's not a neurosurgeon if he don't know. I feel fairly confident the guy knew. I think he didn't want to risk it.
I think he didn't want to be.
He didn't want to be the responsibility for this kid's brain.
Right.
And he's like, I really want my boss to look at it to be sure. That kind of thing.
He said, so in a few hours, my boss will be here, which meant morning rounds. So we settled in for the evening and got moved to a room about 2:30 in the morning. They came in.
Baby, you got moved to a room at 4:30.
4:30. It was 2:30 he came in. They moved us at 4:30. We went and did a extensive, what's it called where you get in the big tunnel?
MRI.
An MRI. And then we saw the doctor. And what did he say? You knew better than I did.
What?
What the doctor said.
Okay. So let's talk about how you got moved first.
Okay.
I don't want to skip that. So we're in an emergency room, and it has a couch in the room. And y'all, it's 4:30 in the morning. So Zoe and I are approaching 24 hours being awake.
That's right, Kevin.
I couldn't take any more. What did he say?
If he didn't feel comfortable, I'd much rather him make an excuse to get another set of eyes than give it a shot and mess up.
Well, that's exactly what he
That's
did.
right.
And
we
he
were
was
okay
like,
with that. I'm glad he just told us
he
that.
didn't. So that's why I wanted to make sure that we worded it right. I didn't want the way Zoe worded it sounded incompetent. The way he worded it sounded like, hey, I'm not going to risk this.
Yeah,
I want another set of eyes. I want my boss to look at it. The only problem with that is when a neurosurgeon that I know, hearing him talk, he's confident.
Yeah.
He's saying, I'm 99% sure I know what this is, but all we're looking at is a CT scan that wasn't even done in our facility.
Right.
So I want my boss to look at it, which meant we were going to do another scan and an MRI.
Right.
But he basically come out and said, I want him to look. Mm-hmm. But for us, I want my boss to look at it means crap.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's trying to not panic us. He wants the attending to look at it for a reason.
Yes.
That's in my head.
Right. I'm thinking there's something else and we just don't know it yet.
So I tell Zoe, hey, it's time to lay down. So I give her the couch in the emergency room. There's nothing else available. I even said, why don't you crawl up there in the bed with Chance? That way I wouldn't feel like such a scumbag laying on the couch. I said, crawl up in the bed with Chance. She said, I don't want to. So I said, I'm going to the parking deck and lay down in the truck so you can have this couch. And she's like, okay. Y'all, F-150 back seat ain't meant for fat boy to sleep in. Oh my gosh. I couldn't move when I got up after a couple hours in there. But in the meantime, Zoe sends me a text and says, we're being moved. Well, they had already told us that we were going to wait on the attending neurosurgeon in the ER. So I was like, so you're being admitted? And she said, no, I asked that. She said, I asked the nurse, are we being admitted? And she's like, well, technically no. What do you mean technically no? Either you are or you ain't. Well, we were still an ER patient on the 9th floor of the hospital. She said, we're just moving you somewhere to be more comfortable to wait. After a morning up there, I understood all of that.
Yeah.
They moved you to a room to make you more comfortable because they knew you were going to have to wait 5-6 hours.
Yeah.
And you couldn't get any sleep for all the people that came in there. I'm not talking about nurses checking stuff. They do that. Right. They're coming in taking files and all that.
That's part of it.
But you have whatever that child life woman was, I don't even remember her title, came in to make sure he was coping with it okay. I said, coping with what? They ain't told him nothing yet. She said, I just mean the IVs and the tests and blah, blah, blah. I said, he's asleep. He's fine. But she had to make sure he was coping well. Then they had some other coordinator that came in there while you were going to get your ID.
Were you in there when the lady came to make sure he had all his surgery essentials?
Yeah, that he didn't have any.
And he said, surgery? And I said, ma'am, we hadn't even seen the doctor yet.
She was the surgical nurse, and they had just sent her ahead of the surgeon to get vitals and to make sure everything was in order. And she's like, well, none of this has been ordered yet, so there's not a surgical plan. We're like, we know.
I really hope there's not.
So it may have been a child life specialist.
Yes,
That could be
correct.
it.
Yeah.
But then there was some other kind of coordinator that came in and made sure the family didn't have any complaints.
Uh-huh.
And Kevin, I swear to you that went through my head was wherever Kevin and Kimberly was didn't have one of these people.
Oh, yeah.
Because this lady come in, she said, well, that was while you were getting your ID badge made. She's like, I just make sure everything's good. Do y'all have any complaints? Anything we can do for you? I was like, no, we're just kind of waiting. And she's like, well, if you need anything, just pick up that phone and dial star so-and-so, and I'll be right here. And I'm like, that's great, whatever. So they were super nice.
Yeah.
We kept getting, there were 5 different nurses that came in there. And
Well,
I'm trying to figure out which nurse was his. Then the lady needed to make sure he had something to do.
So she brought him checkers, and
She asked him, what kind of board games do you like? Do you like to color?
so we also painted a pumpkin.
Turn it a little bit. She said, I got some pumpkins you can paint.
So she came with 5 containers of paint and a plastic pumpkin for him to paint while we waited.
And then if y'all saw the reel, I had seen this before working downtown, but they just do it occasionally. It's not all the time, but for some reason, we just happened to be there on the day that the window washers for the hospital dress up as superheroes.
Right.
So chances there for that. And I'm like,
it just turned into a whole day. I mean, they measured anything you needed.
It was covered.
Mm-hmm.
But then the neurosurgeon comes in, and he looks dead at me and says, there's no problem. Okay, you're going to have to elaborate. And that he goes back into the name of this thing, what it is. And he's like, look, if I scan everybody in this hospital, I'm going to find 200 or 300 of these.
He said 5 out of every 100 kids.
I was like, what? He said, I'm going to find 200 or 300 of these in this hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that it is that common, it happens during development. He has had it his entire life. And he said, if it had not been for the headaches and the concussion, you would have never found it because there would have never been an issue. He said, they don't have symptoms. They don't cause any problems. It's just there.
It's just a buildup of fluid blisters.
He said it happens during development, and he said they are very common. I don't think he said extremely, but he said very common. And that's when he said, if I scan everybody in this hospital, I will find 200 to 300 of these. I was like, holy cow.
Yeah, there's no reason to mess with it. It's not had any growth. You can see where it's been formed around, there's just no reason to do anything other than just leave it.
Sarah said she has 2 on her brain. Half of us are slacking. She said, I pinned that while ago. Yes, that was Children's Hospitals.
Yes.
Children's of Alabama in Birmingham. But yes, Kevin, that was a huge relief to hear that. And I'm thinking, okay, so what's causing the headaches? He said, oh, no, he has a concussion. Mm-hmm. He said he has a sports-related concussion. That's what they kept calling it.
But he also...
Then he said, based on the timing of the headaches, he said, this did not happen this week. Mm-mm. It didn't happen in his game Saturday. He said it either happened the practice the week before or even as early as the game the past Saturday. And that's when we pinpointed what happened, and I'll put that in the video.
You found the video.
I found what this goofball did.
Something he's been taught not to do.
He has been preached over and over and over not to do.
And it's been a learning thing for him.
It's been a learning. It's going to be a learning thing for the rest of the team.
That's right.
If you do this as I have told you not to, you're going to end up like Chance and hurt yourself. But we do, y'all. I have wonderful news, and I told Chance this right there in the hospital after we got the diagnosis. We have photographic evidence that he does indeed have a brain. It's in there. And he just kind of looked at me and laughed. I said, we can prove it. We have photographic evidence. You're not going to use it, but you do have one.
That tickled him. And he talked about it on the way home. I got a brain. They showed us pictures.
He said, I can prove it. And even Coach Andy said, did you really see it on video, on like camera or something, film or x-ray? He said, did they actually show you? And Chance said, well, they didn't show me, but it's in there. And he said, I've always thought that was just water in there, Chance.
That's right. That's what he told him last night. So
he said, I swore there was nothing in there but water.
That's what he told him last night. He said, you can't practice. He said, come on, Waterhead, you're going to sit right here and you can watch.
So Heather wants to know, if it happened that long ago, why did it take so long to kick in the symptoms? I never had one, so not sure how concussions work. Thought it was instant pain and vomiting.
Mm-hmm.
So, Heather, as coaches, we have to go through concussion protocol training. That's how big concussions are right now. I saw somebody earlier comment about having a drill to avoid it. You have to do things like that because I think that may be what's wrong with all the people my age.
Hey, Don.
That's what's wrong with all of us. Is that you had a little piece of foam about this thick in the top of your helmet. Now, these helmets have air pads. It's pockets of air all the way around. These football helmets are rated for a car crash.
Mm-hmm. If you use them right.
If you use them correctly. So, Chance, his only symptom was the headache. That's why, Heather, we didn't put much into it because there was no dizziness.
All of your typical, what they put out.
There was any lack of understanding. I've seen kids take a hit and end up walking to the wrong sideline.
Right.
Get on the wrong side of the field. They get dizzy. They have all sorts of things. His only symptom was the headache. He didn't tell us for several days that he had one. He had a headache after that game that I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
He never said it. He only said that he had one after it got worse at school. He said he kicked a kickball and couldn't run and had to sit down. And I was like, that was Tuesday. He didn't tell us
that until we were at the hospital.
He didn't tell us that till later. Somebody asked something. A lot of us have things, congenital things you do not know about until a non-related item comes up. Beth, that's exactly what happened.
Don said, was it a dermoid cyst?
It was a sarcoid cyst. So there's no telling how many concussions older people had because nobody knew. Everybody went home with a headache after football practice. But you also had foam about this thick. These helmets are made for collisions, but you still have to do it correctly. Our major concern is usually not concussions, but neck injuries. We're trying to not get them to jam their neck.
Right.
But Chance must have had a truck crash. Helmets don't work for them. What he had was a pretty good crash, and I'm going to show that in the next video. We're going to tie all that together for you.
Mm-hmm. So our biggest question is...
So he was hiding the pain. What a strong body to not get other symptoms that comes with it besides headaches.
Mm-hmm.
So Chance is, he don't have any meat on his bones. He just don't because he has the metabolism of a hummingbird. But he is in extremely good physical condition.
Yes.
He can do push-ups for days.
Mm-hmm.
He can hold
Run.
6 inches until we tell him to
outrun
stop.
anybody, endurance-wise.
So he's in extremely top physical condition. I'll say that. What?
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
almost
okay.
asleep.
Yeah, stay in there. Hey, you got the light off?
Yes.
Quit walking into these bright lights. Happy 30th birthday, Nick. How did
Thanks,
you
Riri.
know? Sandy, how did you know I was 30? You just a good guesser.
She's a good guesser.
He didn't want you to take him out of the game. He's going to bed to go back. That's how much he loves it. He could have at least told me he had a headache after the game. He didn't mention it after. We went to eat after, went to our favorite wings place that I've been trying to get Jason to go to. We talked about it on the last live. We did all of that after the game, and he still hadn't said anything. Y'all, we're moving through an entire week. He had 3 days of football practice after this happened
With an intense headache.
that he never said anything about. He would say, I got a little bit of a headache. His mom would give him a Tylenol. She's like, I don't really like giving you Tylenol. And we're thinking sinus pressure. And he doesn't mention it. 3 days worth of practice. Plays another game. Never says a word. Never said he even had a headache. And then the following week, it got too bad for him to be able to stand it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when it was time to do something. Thank you, Joan. That's not something that happens on our lives a lot. I saw, was it Riri that did it? And now Joan sent one. That is awesome. He didn't want to stop. He didn't want to disappoint y'all. Well, I had to explain that an injury, 8:41, y'all. You made it that long?
I did.
No, Christy, you just missed it. It wasn't that long.
Uh-huh.
I had to explain that there's a huge difference when it's an injury. Chance did have to come out of that game for one play, but he took a stinger to his shoulder.
Yeah.
Remember, he come off. He was tapping his helmet, and I waved him over, and I said, "What's the matter?" He said, "I jammed my shoulder," and he was working it a little bit. And I sent a kid in his place, and the next play, he's like, "Hey, I'm good," and he goes back in.
Yeah.
So we sent him back in. He was fine.
We've taught you. Well, I say we. I'm not out there. Y'all have taught them, to tell you.
Let me know
if it does no good if they're hurt to not say anything, because it's just even longer for them to have to heal. If we go ahead and tell them now, it's easier to address it.
Well, the problem with the reason that we harp on telling us when you're injured is because I appreciate you trying to be tough and stay in. But if you're only at 50%, you're hurting your team by trying to be tough.
That's right.
If you're only 50%, come off the field. Let me put somebody in there that's 100% until we get you better or healed or whatever. Right. He just had a stinger. He needed to come off for one play, and he was good. And with the shoulder-wise, that was true. That was fine. Lots of people about he didn't want to miss playing, afraid he wouldn't be able to play.
Very true.
That's exactly what it was.
But we've also had the conversation last night and this morning, that it's very important at this point to no running, no jumping, no jogging, no twirling fast, nothing. We're not going to jump out of the truck. It's going to be a patience game of healing. The doctor did say he could return to school tomorrow if we want him to, but if he got a headache, to go ahead and bring him back home to work his way back into school. But we've decided we'll probably just let him stay home the rest of the week, because boys, they're going to come up and pop each other on the head like that and those things, and that all it would take is that one little thing.
Kevin just hit the nail on the head. That's got to be rough for a boy full of energy. Let me tell you how difficult it is to get a 10-year-old to follow concussion protocol.
A 10-year-old ADHD kid.
So he can't have any screen time, which is bad for him anyway. Well, that's what occupies his mind. He said
no tablets and stuff, so we have absolutely cut out no tablets, no phone.
Right.
And he can't sit. I told him he could watch TV as long as it was far off. Nothing's close.
He can't be up close. And I saw somebody say my son couldn't do anything for 6 weeks. That depends on the severity of the concussion. He did not have swelling, anything like that. He said this is definitely what's happened with the headaches. His eyes were reacting fine, and this was not a fresh injury.
Right.
It was already 2 weeks old before we found it because he's so stubborn. And he's putting the emphasis in the wrong place. He's trying to be tough, but his emphasis is misdirected.
Yes.
And what we had to explain was, okay, here's the deal. This week, and y'all, I'm not being mean at all. This week, we are the first place undefeated team, and we're playing the team that is dead last. That, to Chance, should be a meaningless game. It's not meaningless, but this doesn't drive you. So we have told him we can put the backup, basically Chance's backups on offense and defense. We're going to play your backups this week, and you're going to rest. Next week, we have a bye week. We're off all week. No game Saturday. So he has basically 3 weeks before another game. We're going to enter him very slowly next week, no contact, and let him work up very, very slowly and see if he's ready, because that following game will be a playoff game. Chances are, and this is because if he plays defense, that he answers to me, because I'm the defensive coordinator, and I've already said that there's a good chance he's going to sit that playoff game too. Our head coach is the offensive coordinator, and he has said the same thing. Chance's blocks on offense, being a running back, kind of a wing back, if you know what I mean. His blocks are usually very high speed. He is at a full dead run when he hits you. And that is actually more dangerous than what he does on defense. So the decision has been made that he's probably not going to play offense anymore this season. And it's going to just be left up to me whether he plays defense. And there's a good chance that he may not make the playoff game. If he does, fine. But we're trying to get him healthy so that he hasn't put in all this work all year to miss the championship. If we make it to the championship, he has put in the work. We want him to have the opportunity to play that game if he's healthy.
Right.
If he's not, he's not.
Then he just won't. Right.
I think they make glasses that will help with screens and lights. I have seen something like that, Kevin. I don't know a lot about them, but I have seen something about that. Doctor told my niece that her daughter's ADHD had a lot to do with her being so tough and going so long before saying anything.
Well, like I explained to him yesterday, because he doesn't understand completely.
Who else is stubborn that we know? Zoe?
Like I told him yesterday, or last night, his brain has been bruised. And, you know, like any other thing, if you don't let it rest, if your bruises aren't left alone, then they just get worse and worse.
Yawn number 2. There's no way that was only number 2. Christy, you missed it. Go back.
You yawned for the first time for me.
I did do it the first time for you. I said, hey, y'all. And then I yawned. I should have said, I'm hungry. I want a snack. Oh, I'm so tired.
No, I'm going to do that when we get off of here.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I told him, you know, I tried to lay it out in Chance terms and told him, you know, your brain's been rattled up and it's got bruises on it, and the bruises are going to get worse if you don't stop jolting it around in there. So it's like taking an egg and just shaking it, shaking it. It's not ever going to settle down unless you just leave it alone. So we've got to do everything we can.
Oh, I bet. Is that JAMA? Is that how you say that? Please pray for all of Florida as Milton hits us. It's so scary getting hit during the night.
Yeah.
There's no way that doesn't make that worse, it being nighttime.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, was it Michael that we got all the wind from that tore up the farm, the trees at the farm? Was that Michael?
I don't know.
When the hurricane sustained the winds to here, we're in central Alabama, and y'all don't quote me on that. I think it was Michael. I'm not going to say it was, but we had winds still in the 60 to 70 and some gusts to 80 here. And I was standing on the back porch, and it was dark like she's talking about. It was nighttime, and I was watching the pecan tree pulling the ground up. It never failed, but it was pulling the ground up. I'd see it lean, and y'all, I have never thought that the wind was actually going to take my house down without it being a tornado.
Yeah.
And nighttime 100% made that worse. So, Gemma, we will be praying for you, no question. Tanya said, I may hurt y'all. Kim said, I wear blue. What? It jumped on me. I wear blue light prescription glasses for my computer work. A boy that played with my oldest son had 3 concussions, and the doctor told him no more sports. He was not happy, but his parents said it was worth it.
I wanted to say something about that. So this neurosurgeon told us that there is no reason to not play all these sports out of fear of an incident. He said because,
he did say that.
And that meant something to me because he is a neurosurgeon. His job is the brain. And the fact that he gave us, told us that there people are not going to agree with it, with our decisions, but we're going to take this as a learning experience.
Katie, I was reading your comment. I'm sorry. It was scrolling really fast and it got by me, but I did read it. Go ahead.
I don't know now.
That there was no reason to keep him out of it out of fear. You were saying that.
Yeah. So I just thought that needed to be said because a lot of people have told us, oh, we're risking his health by making him play and this and that.
Oh, did you read the comment about us asking for prayers for our son while people were suffering from a hurricane? Did you read that one?
I saw somebody say that the hurricane was more important. But more importantly, I was thinking, well, that might be more important to somebody, but my kid's health is more important.
I let that stuff not worry about it. My 92-year-old grandmother lives in Florida, but thankful my uncle lives with her, and they went to a relative's in Georgia.
Good.
I've got a coworker whose daughter and grandsons, he's originally from Tampa, and they were still in Tampa. And he said that they are on well water. Yes, you are, Jama. Why are you yelling at me? But their ground was so saturated that their septic is still not working right. And they got huge trees around an older house. And he said there was no way they could stay there and ride it out because the ground is so saturated. He said the trees are going. Mm-hmm. They have no question the trees are going. He said the yard is still squishy when you walk, and their septic is not working correctly because all the field lines are flooded.
Yep. What Heather say?
Y'all got to hold him hostage so he doesn't play. Y'all aren't making him play.
Right.
That's okay to get back up if he's healthy enough to do so. I agree. I'm not one of those parents that's going to overreact and say no more. But I've got enough sense as a coach to not let any of my kids back out there if they're not healthy.
Right.
Of course, I'm not going to call the boy's name, but we had a kid that he had turned his ankle. Mm-hmm. You sit with his parents all the time. He had turned his ankle. Now, our quarterback had rolled an ankle, and we took it really light on him, taped him. He said he was good, and he was fine. This kid was wearing a brace. It was just really bothering him, and he played line both ways, so I took him off of one of those lines. I said, look, if it's not bothering you, I'll still let you play, but I'm not dumb enough to make you play the entire game both ways and make it worse. Why would I do that? He's like, Coach, I'm fine. No, you're 10 is what you are.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm an old man, and I'm your coach, and I'm telling you that you're not going both ways. We're going to at least give it half rest. I said, or you cannot play at all. Deal? And that's when he gave in. I was like, no. So it's not just my son. I'm going to protect all my kids like that.
Mm-hmm.
If they're not 100%, then we need to get them to 100%. Still half of us slacking, she said. Some folks, maybe they just don't like the live, Londa.
Katie said, wrap him in bubble wrap. There is a helmet cover that we're going to try to get him. It's called a Guardian cap.
He wore one last year.
I know.
It's called a Guardian cap. It's just a pad you put over the helmet.
It's just an extra layer.
Lori said, I'm not slacking.
Jerry
Lori, you are slacking. You watching somebody else. If you go to the auction, I just would not even talk to Lori.
I'd go all the way to Oklahoma and not even give her a big old hug.
She's gonna. You so gotta get a hug. Give her a hug. She needs a hug.
Still hadn't decided.
You have not talked about your moms.
Nick, where were you Monday?
Where was I Monday? What?
Did Lori have a live Monday? And you missed
I was
it?
either, what kind? Yeah, but Lori, you do your live while people are still at work.
Yeah.
What time was you live, Lori? Like 4 o'clock? Because I was either at work, on my way home from work, or at football practice, because that's the way my life goes.
Yeah.
Sarah said you can hug her, just don't talk to her. Lori, you have not said what time you were live yet. 6:30. I was on the football field at 6:30. That's we practice from 6 to 8, and most of the time I am driving home and will get on Kevin's live at 8:30 on Thursday.
Yeah.
But sometimes I don't even make it on there. It may be 9:30 before I get on the phone. Huh?
I made a terrible face.
You did? What kind of face?
I was yawning and I looked and I was going.
Like every Monday. I'm gonna have to, it won't do me any good till after football season, Lori. But I will set a reminder.
So.
But she has been on live, and it might have been 6:30 because it was back when it was warm. But she was going live while everybody was still working, like at their farm. I've got hiccups. It's driving me nuts.
Well, we only have a couple more minutes, but we did take most of it talking about Chance. But let's talk about our video real quick.
If you have an excuse not to be in my life at all. Okay, Lori, you win. I have a reason for splitting the lives if you have an excuse not to be in my life at all. You win, Lori.
She can play your game, she said.
Go ahead, Zoe. I'm sorry. I'm over here arguing with Lori.
Well, we just... What?
She said, see you at the auction.
Oh, I can't see good.
You got to tell them about the moms.
Well, our moms didn't go how we expected, but it went really well. We did get to deliver all the mums that you guys purchased.
Go watch the video.
Yeah.
Y'all go watch the video.
Yeah, they don't have to talk about it.
But the plans did adjust on us a little, but it was for the better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it worked out. We had a couple of people who purchased some for us to deliver to Cog Hill specifically, and so we did that. My mom got some. We got some. One of your coworkers got some, and then the rest all went to the nursing home. And now we've made plans with them. He's going to work with Mackenzie's FFA and see if they would like to come and build some raised beds for the nursing home so that the people in the wheelchairs can access it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it'll be a good thing all the way
So
around.
his plan is to spell out the letters, the HHC, and fill in with the rest of the moms. And we have discussed it with some other people. And if we can get more of us involved, we're going to try to do 2 nursing homes next year and do it an annual thing.
Yep.
And we're going to have some people that y'all know involved.
Yep. It'll be great. I think it'll be extremely successful.
Jacob said Eddie's haven't gone live in a while. I saw them live one day that we could not get on. I got a notification that they were live and I couldn't get on. And then I haven't seen them. It's been a while.
Yes. And so they also said that
So I need to be watching for the Eddies.
Some of the people will be able to take their mums inside, but they are going to get some pie plates to put on there. And we did not know that the mums had holes in the pots.
The ones that wanted to take them in their room, he was going to let them pick one out and they would get them something to put under it.
Yes.
And then when it came time for it to die back, they would transfer it outside.
Right.
They would do that.
Yeah. But they love the idea of them being outside because they do, it's starting to cool off and they'll be able to get out there and enjoy them. They have lights that hang all through the courtyard, so they'll be able to see them at night with the lights. And I think it worked out well. It went as good as it could have.
I think so too. Just cashed my coin jar in. So we have $143 for next year. Wow.
All right.
Was that the new song that was in the video?
It sure was.
It was. I told y'all that I would play it during the mom video, so that's what we did. Now I'm just waiting to see what Ed comes up with. He's out there frying fish, and when he comes up with his Farmer Rhett song, we'll have it in a video.
Yep. So I guess.
Time to wrap up?
Yeah.
It's time to get ready for bed, y'all, because we're not caught up yet. It's time to crash. I got in from football last night, didn't even eat dinner. I just went straight to bed. And I plan on going straight to bed after this live.
And as Nick so nicely pointed out, that I do not have a cricket in my neck. I have a crick in my neck.
Sarah, pay attention, because here's you another Zoeism, because Zoe told me this today.
I told you yesterday that I had a cricket in my neck.
You told me today.
It was yesterday because I got a cricket yesterday.
But you didn't tell me till today.
Told you yesterday.
Okay. Anyway, go ahead, Zoe.
That I have a cricket in my neck. And I guess it's from sleeping in the hospital chair.
You don't have a cricket anywhere. I said, Zoe, you do not have a bug in your neck. And she said, I have a cricket in my neck. No, ma'am. No, you don't. That's not what you have. You have a crick in your neck. That's what we call it here. I don't know what y'all call it. Here, we call it having a crick in your neck. And Zoe said she had a cricket in hers.
Well, Cassie has a crick in her backyard.
What?
A creek. They call it a crick.
Well, a lot.
I don't have a crick.
People do. At least it's not a spider, Zoe. The arachnid. Yeah. At least you don't have a spider in your neck. You had a spider in Kansas head.
Terrible surgery.
But Nick has a stream in his neck.
They're crickets. See?
I call a crick in my neck. No, Zoe, they're not agreeing with you, baby. She said those are crickets, bugs.
Oh.
Acorns. I think she's trying to say acorns. That's how we say it. Acorns. Katie says a kink in your neck. I could see it saying that.
Lorraine said it's a crick in Australia. Well, whatever it is, I got a cricket in my neck.
You don't have a cricket in your neck. Just Zoe's neck made chirping sounds, apparently. Zoe, you need a sloth.
I do. Or capicabra. Capybara.
What that say? A capicabra.
Oh gosh.
Zoe,
I'm
let's
so
go.
tired.
We gotta go to bed.
All right, y'all. We'll see y'all whenever we see y'all again.
We will have a video Saturday and live Sunday.
Sounds like a plan. Like we've been doing all along.
All along. Zoe just can't remember what day it is.
Yeah. All right.
Bye, y'all.